Hello and welcome to another edition of Let's Play Ring of Honor 2015. Due to some technical difficulties and a stupid mistake on my part, I have the show already booked out for this week's edition of Ring of Honor Television as we draw closer to the next iPay-per-view, which is Validation in 2 weeks on iPay-per-view, where we will see the culmination of the 16-man single elimination tournament to crown where the winner will receive a title shot at either the ROH Television or ROH World Champion. It is up to them. Tonight, you will see the final second round match between Johnny Gargano and Kenny King, where the winner of that match will face Kyle O'Reilly next week on Ring of Honor Television. To go along with the other tournament match next week, Chris Hero versus Rob Echoes. Currently, the only matches set for Validation are the tournament match, as I mentioned before, the fifth match in the best of 5 series to crown the new ROH World Tag Team Champions as the Addiction goes up against the Young Bucks, and the winners will be ROH champions. Also, the grudge match to end all grudge matches, Roderick Strong will go one-on-one against BJ Whitmer. The start of his one-man army against the Decade begins tonight against Jimmy Jacobs, and then goes to next week against Adam Page, and then the iPay-per-view sees Roddy against BJ. All this and more on Ring of Honor. So let's get to the show here tonight. We kick off the event with the Kingdom on the pre-show, competing in a 6-man tag team match for their first time against Rich Money, Tadarius Thomas, and Tommaso Ciampa, and the Kingdom works together like a well-oiled machine and comes out on top here tonight. Now we slide over to the beginning of the show, where Kevin Kelly and Nigel McGuinness go over the matches set for tonight, like I mentioned before, and the only match that I did not mention that is going on tonight is the world title match, main event, Michael Elgin versus Jay Briscoe. And now we move to the opening match tonight, and the start of Roddy's one-man army against a Decade, as he goes against Jimmy Jacobs. And Roddy comes out on top against the mastermind. Behind the old Age of the Fall, Jimmy Jacobs, after botched interference by fellow Decade member Adam Page. Adam thought he did something good, but in turn, he messed it up for Jimmy. Following the match, which saw Roddy reverse the O'Connor roll and pin, the old-fashioned screw up for a manager, Jimmy and Adam got into a shouting match over who's to blame, neither looking happy about the situation. Now we go to another an old-fashioned ROH video package, which sees Truth Martini talking up his client, the man who he feels is leading Ring of Honor, who is the real world's champion, who holds the title that has more meaning than the world title, carries more class than the world champion, Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal once again says that he can beat anyone in Ring of Honor because he is the best wrestler in the world, and he is out to prove it. And that this week's episode is not main evented by the world title match, Last week's episode was main evented by a world title match. This week is just main evented by a paper champion who wouldn't know a real world champion if he stood in front of him. Now we move to the tune-up match of sorts for the Addiction as they face martial law, R.D. Evans and QT Marshall here tonight. And as you probably would have expected, the Addiction win pretty quickly over martial law. Following the match, the Addiction, in a ringside interview with Kevin Kelly, go off on what they're going to do at validation to the Young Bucks, and that they will finally walk out with ROH Gold. Now we move to the tournament, the final round, this final second round match of the ROH title tournament, of the 16-man single elimination tournament. This is the last second round match as Kenny King went up against Johnny Gargano, and the new face of ROH, or the new man in Ring of Honor, Johnny Gargano, once again gets a win against Kenny, this time against Kenny King, but he had help from Romantic Touch. So that means next week on ROH television, it is Johnny Gargano up against Kyle O'Reilly, where the winner will advance to face the winner of Chris Hero and Rob Echoes at Validation in the finals of the 16-man single elimination tournament. Knowing Jay Briscoe, you had to figure that Jay was going to come out, was not going to keep his mouth shut with after the consistent provoking by Jay Lethal. So, and if you thought that, you were right. Jay Briscoe comes out before his match and cuts a short promo on Jay Lethal, just saying, "Boy, anywhere, anytime, you want to prove you're the best? Well, I got the belt to prove I'm the best. Anywhere, anytime. I'll teach you a lesson." Okay. A very uneventful main event, and a very depressing main event at that, because I thought it was going to get a lot better, but I guess because of the fact that apparently Michael Logan has a dreadfully stale character and could barely finish the match, or was getting visibly tired near the end, you'd figure it wasn't as good as it could have been. Does this mean anything for Michael? No. This just means that I gotta change his gimmick and, basically toss it in and redeal, But the show doesn't end there. I know, Delirious, I know. Welsh, yes, a monster named Welsh pops up from out of nowhere, from behind Jay Briscoe, runs in and almost beheads the ROH World Champion. Nobody knows what the hell is going on. Nobody knows who this man is. If you can tell by his photo who he is, put it in the comment section and let me know who you think he is. I mean, if you can tell by how he looks in the picture, you probably can guess who he is. But let me know who you think he is, or who he actually is, in the comment section below. But whatever, everything else aside, Welsh ends this week's episode of ROH Television with a mystery, because nobody knows who he is, and nobody knows why he's here. As you can tell, I would hope that we gained 5 in popularity in 5 regions this week, and things only keep getting better as we move towards validation on our way to the first of two big events this year, and that is the anniversary show coming up in May. Because I promise you that we're going to have a big surprise for the anniversary show in May. And it's going to be one to be very excited about. But, dialing it back, if let me know what you thought of the show in the comment section below. Do you enjoy the show? Did you enjoy the fact that this episode ended with a mystery, an intrigue, and could in fact, or may have, I hope, made you want to come back and watch next week's episode? If it did, don't forget to like, subscribe to the video, because you can only find it right here at Wrestling Express. Till next time, later.